Imagine walking to a grocery store 25 years from now and seeing empty shelves where fruits, vegetables, and grains used to be. Imagine hearing that another drought, pest infestation, or plant disease has wiped out the crops worldwide. As the global population approaches 10 billion people by 2050, this scenario becomes increasingly possible. Now, what if there were a way to help prevent this future and produce enough food to feed everyone without running out of land, water, and resources? One technological solution already exists: genetically modified crops. As the population around the world grows and climate change threatens agriculture, people need to find ways to increase food supplies has become extreme importance. This topic affects everyone because the future of food security will affect the availability, cost, and sustainability of food we eat every day. As a plant science major, I am studying crop production, plant genetics, and agricultural sustainability, which gives me a good understanding of how genetically modified crops function and their role in food production. Additionally, because my family farms, I have firsthand experience in the understanding of the challenges farmers face with pests, weather, and maintaining crop yields, which provides me with a practical perspective on this subject. Genetically modified crops are a socially significant issue because they can help address global hunger, improve environmental health, and support affordable food production in the future. First, I will discuss the challenges the world is facing in food security, then how changes in climate, pests, and plant disease threaten food production, and finally, how genetically modified crops will help solve these problems. Now that it is evident that genetically modified foods are an important issue, let's examine the challenges facing global food security, the concepts of hunger, changes in climate, pests, and plant diseases, all of which are threatening our food supply. Food insecurity, climate change, increasing pest infestation, and crop diseases threaten the production of food, making it difficult for people to afford nutritious food for a rapidly growing population. According to the United States Food and Agricultural Organization in its 2024 report on global food security in 2023, an estimated 28.9% of the global population, 2.3 billion people, were moderately or severely food insecure. Between 713 and 757 million people have faced hunger in 2023, 1 out of 11 people in the world. A growing population increases the need for food, and agriculture continues to face challenges with increases in droughts and floods, and with pests and plant diseases destroying billions of crops every year. In July of 2024, Guinea writes that environmental degradation, such as sterile agricultural land, depleted water tables, and falling grain yields, threatens food security for hundreds of millions of people, especially in more vulnerable regions of the globe. Farmers across the globe are struggling to maintain crop production as environmental issues become more extreme. For example, farmers in California have experienced severe drought conditions, reducing the availability of water for crops. Also, according to the United Nations World Food Program in 2024 reports, prolonged drought in the Horn of Africa has caused repeated crop failure, leaving millions of people to face severe food insecurity. These problems can not only lower harvest yields, but also raise food prices and make nutritious foods more difficult for families who might already are struggling to obtain them. Changes in climate are intensifying many of the challenges farmers already face by increasing extreme weather events, broadening the problem with pests, and spreading plant diseases by creating conditions that adversely affect crop production. Climate change is causing an increase in the frequency of droughts, floods, heat waves, and unpredictable weather that damages crops and decreases agricultural yields. Droughts limit water availability for irrigation and plant growth. According to an article by the Institute for Environmental Research and Education, in 2025, unpredictable changes in the timing and intensity of rainfall can disrupt planting schedules, hinder crop development, and reduce overall yields. Weather events can also destroy crops before harvesting and reduce food production. An example of this can be seen, and my family can attest to this, in recent weather events here in California, with unpredictable rains ruining most of this year's California cherry crop. Increasing pest population are another major cause of food insecurity because they destroy crops and reduce yields. Warmer temperatures allow many insects to survive longer and move into new regions. Farmers often have to spend money on pesticides to control infestations, therefore increasing production costs and food prices. Plant diseases are also becoming more widespread and threatening global food production. Changes in climate might create conditions that increase the chances of disease outbreaks, making it harder for farmers to manage. Now that I've talked about some of the major causes of food insecurity, it's important that we look at what can be done to deal with these problems. Understanding the causes is only the first part. Finding solutions that will help improve food security and establish a more sustainable food system is even more important. Some of the most effective ways to help solve food insecurity are by implementing strategies that help farmers adapt to climate change while also working to reduce its long-term impact. While some people worry that genetically modified crops may be unsafe for human consumption or harmful to the environment, many organizations, such as the American Medical Association, have concluded that approved genetically modified foods are safe to eat, and rather than creating new risks, many of these crops help reduce pesticide use and improve sustainability. In the book Genetically Modified Food and Global Welfare, published in 2011. CAIM reports that genetically modified crops can raise agricultural productivity and thus contribute to better food availability. Especially when tailored to small farm conditions, genetically modified crops can also cause income increases for the rural poor, entailing better access to food. Nutritionally enhancing biofortified genetically modified crops could reduce problems of micronutrient malnutrition in a cost-efficient way. Therefore, to protect future food supplies, farmers and policymakers must look for innovative solutions that increase agricultural production while helping crops survive these growing challenges. One solution is for farmers to invest in climate-smart agriculture. They can use drought-resistant crops and more efficient irrigation systems. For example, scientists have developed genetically modified drought-tolerant corn that can survive less water during periods of extreme heat and drought. Farmers also could use drip irrigation systems which deliver water directly to plants' roots and reduce the waste of water waste. An article published in Water 2024 by Gao and Lee reports that drip irrigation not only excels in water conservation, but also plays an active role in improving the quality of crop growth and promoting eco-hydraulical processes. The article also states that drip irrigation plays a pivotal role in advancing several of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. These solutions can help crops survive extreme weather and maintain food security. Climate-smart farming also reduces the impact of droughts, floods, and rising temperatures. Another solution to help solve food insecurity can be implemented by all of us, not just farmers. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions and supporting sustainable policies are yet another way to tackle this problem. Genetically modified crops can reduce the need for pesticide application, improve resource efficiency, and help maintain crop yields when under climate stress, which makes them an excellent way to help in reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Governments can also create policies that support sustainable farming practices. The USDA's Biotechnology Risk Assessment Research grants, which are known as BRAG, provide science-based research for newly genetically modified crops that are environmental impact. Ferguson posted in the National Law Review that the USDA announced approximately $5.3 million in BRAG-supported research. Now that I've discussed some of the challenges facing global food security and how genetically modified crops can help address them, I'll bring this speech to a close. First, we discussed the growing problems of global food insecurity. Next, we examined some of the contributing factors such as climate change, pests, and plant diseases. Finally, we looked at how genetically modified crops can meet these challenges through improved drought tolerance, pest and disease resistances, and support from government research programs. Genetically modified crops are not a complete solution to world hunger, but are one of the most important and effective tools available to help farmers produce more food with fewer resources. As climate change, pests, and plant diseases continue to pose a threat to agriculture, biotechnology, can help farmers protect future generations so they have the ability to afford nutritious food. Now think back to the grocery store I asked you to imagine at the beginning of this speech. The choices we make today will determine whether those shelves are empty or full for generations. Genetically modified crops provide a strong tool to help farmers overcome challenges in climate, pests, and diseases while producing enough food for a growing population. By supporting responsible agriculture innovation and technology, we can help ensure that when our children and grandchildren walk into a grocery store, they will find an abundance of food rather than empty shelves. The question is not whether we can afford to innovate, it is whether we can afford not to.